Hi guys, it's Jessica, and I am back because I wanted to share a project that I finally got done this weekend. This is something that I've been wanting to get done, especially since I've been kind of going through collecting vintage papers and books and things. And then I shared with you a couple days ago that I went to an antique expo kind of thing. It was like they called it an antique and vintage show, I think is what it was. And I got a couple things there, and so I ended up using those in my project that I'm going to share today. So these are basically um, very minimalist junk journals or even glue books. I know that glue books are a really big thing right now. So I think that they can be used either way. I did share that I wanted to make a journal that primarily used vintage pages from, whether it's children's books or ledgers or novels. It didn't matter. I just wanted to make a minimalist junk journal. And so that is what I did. Um, these three are now listed in my Etsy, and they are by cover. Every book has over 65 pages. So that would be over 130 front and back. So yeah, I'll just do a quick walkthrough of each of them so then you can see what's in them. And I can tell you that I pulled out every single children's book, vintage books I had. This book here is a children's book called We Want to Know, and it's from the 1960s. This one is an engineering book from 1921, and then this one is a plant book from the 60s. And so I'll show you each of those. So this one is We Want to Know. On the inside cover, I left it as is because there was writing in there from, the person who had it. If you don't like that, you can always cover it up, but I kind of wanted to leave it as it was. And I did create a little pocket out of a children's page here. And in the pocket, I put some of the vintage flashcards I have, and then the tags that I shared with you guys that I got at that antique show. Both of them, or I'm sorry, all three of the books have pockets in the front. And then these two have pockets in the front and back. I did not do a pocket in the back on this one because the actual original, it was almost like a canvas that was on this book. It ripped off when I was tearing the book apart, so I just covered it with a vintage children's page, and I liked the way it looked, so I didn't put a pocket in the back here, which is why I added more vintage flashcards to the front. So you'll see in here that I use all sorts of pages. That most of these I have shared, some of them I have not. Like I never shared that my daughter and I, about 2 years ago, we made some coffee dyed paper and guest checks, so I pulled those out. Music pages from Beethoven. This was a Japanese, like how to speak English book. This was a vintage ledger from, I think it was the 20s. This page right here actually comes out of this book itself, Important Perennials for Summer. And these pages, I think I shared, I got them in a haul from like a thrift store. They had a bunch of like notebooks from, I don't even know what, it was a long time ago, but it was notebooks to like write for tests. It was from the Salt Lake City School District. And then this, and one of the vintage flashcards I shared from a haul. Some more Beethoven paper. I shared this in a haul. It's a local, I'm not sure they're still in business, but it was from, I think, the 70s. So I can tell you that this is not vintage. And I'll point out anything else that isn't. This was from that really large airplane manual I shared. An actual canceled check from, this one's 1927. This was a vintage world map that I found in my stash that I kind of forgot I had bought. really beautiful. And then this one. Oh, and this is a piece of, sorry, I keep getting notifications from my Etsy. This is watercolor paper. And this ledger here, this is not vintage. And then the map again. So that is it for this one under We Want to Know. This one's probably my favorite because I like the size of it. And I should probably tell you that the sizes, so these two are the same. And they are about 8 1/4 by 5 1/4. So both of these are 8 1/4 by 5 1/4. This one is 5 1/2 by 9. So on the inside cover here, so I did want to say I had to cover the front and back cover with scrapbook paper because it was really water damaged. So I did do that, and I did sew around it, and then I did sew in the pockets on this one. I was going to do some sewing on this, but then I thought, like, I really wanted to keep it minimal like I had talked about. This was the first one I got done, so this is the only one I did some sewing in, and it was just on that cover. Oh, this is from a vintage like recipe journal that I found at a thrift store. This is some actual pages from this 1920s. I think it's actually a mechanical engineering book. 1921 is what it was. These are from an old Sears catalog. This is from a game I've shared that I got at a store. This is an old grocery store ad that actually was inside of this book, and because they were pressing flowers in this book. It's kind of interesting. So I still have the pressed flowers actually. Beethoven book, a children's book. The airplane guide, perennials book, which actually came from this one here. Flashcard. I think someone must have moved from Wyoming and moved to the area I'm in, because when I went to a thrift store, oh, I don't know, a month or two ago, there was just a ton of these older books, but they on the inside of it, a lot of them talked about Wyoming, and then there was a page in here from like Riverton, Wyoming. So, but this one I wanted to share. This was from 1962. There was 3 of them, and I bought all 3, and it was from a school district in Wyoming, and it was like a book for you to keep track of like your student. And I had to cut it down and then re-glue it to use it, but it's actually a pocket. So I want to share here. I didn't glue this side, I just glued this side and this side, so then you can add a lot of things in there. So this one is 2nd and 3rd grade. Another ledger. And an airmail envelope. And then this is the back where I did add another tag and flashcards. And then the last one is this one here. This is the original page it came with. I really kind of loved it. So then again, a vintage shoe tag, and then the flashcards, guest check, some vintage test taking stuff, coffee dyed paper, some pages from this book on perennial health, and here's another one of that school book I was talking about. I can tell you that the first book I cut into, oh, this is from that vintage map too. The first book I cut into, it was a girl named Karen. So hopefully Karen was a good student, but they didn't keep track of anything in her book. All it had was her name and her parents' names, and then the school that she went to in Wyoming. And this one, I love this page. This is from a children's book. I can't recall which one. And this folds out. So I'm sure it's pretty self-explanatory, but all I did was go through everything I had and made a mix of all of it together. And then I think the hardest part was cutting down the pages and then putting it in order that I thought looked best. And then again, there's a pocket back here. And then I bound it with my cinch. I did have to obviously cut off the book covers, and so that did take time as well. But these are now, all three of them are listed in my Etsy. I will leave a link down below to that. And they're in the same listing. You just have to choose which one you want by the cover. And they do have free shipping on them. So that is it for my video today, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching.